this thing on? Hey everybody, welcome back to the Utterly Pointless channel. And this has been probably the 6th or 7th strategy redo video. I mean, redo of a strategy video. You can see how this one's going, but this is for my Pariah team, which is half as long to talk about, so you would think it would go faster. I wound up pulling up to the opposite side of this pharmacy that I sometimes shop at, and this was the first time ever that I have parked on the opposite side at night, so I was trying to just rush my way through, and it wasn't some cops that showed up, but some guys kind of got me a bit nervous, and I just kept on like trying to get through a very quick dungeon run. So what I'll do is just a real quick, I hope quick as possible, redo of that. And this is my Pariah team. Basically no restrictions on creatures, except you can only have 3 of them. So as you can see, I do have an avatar here. So I will start out with anointments, and that is this pair that I have right now. Things have been really pretty disappointing versus Apocrynox, and I'll be trying to fine-tune the anointments. I think that would be what's necessary, because those spells just punch right through the alleged protection that I got with all the combinations of artifacts and other goodies on the team. So Luminous provides barriers on Overheal, Revelation, a chance to get resurrected with 50% health. Then it goes all the way down to Shadowbringer, Shadow Mending, so leeching and mending to recover health, hopefully up to 100%. You'll see why shortly. And then Shadow Sickness, enemies always have Blighted, and that is because I got my favorite creature in the game besides Zonte, and that is Sapphire Drake. So this is one that doesn't have any speed scrolls or defense scrolls or anything on it, so I believe have a training mission underway for defense. Certainly gonna need it with these newbie characters. I did adjust personality, so defense is up, so it's protective, gentle, and protective. And with that, I'll just go to traits. So the Sapphire Drake always has Healing Breath. So at the start of its turn, heals one of your creatures for 150% health. So pretty awesome getting a barrier installed too during that healing for the most part. So after that, I have Unscathed. So after any of your creatures, just was trying to say it's not singular, but after your creatures are attacked, their mending buffs heal them immediately. So the Shadow Mending perk or anointment comes in handy that way. The goal is again to get everybody to 100% health, not because 100 is best as possible numerically, but you'll see in a second. And then as always for Sapphire Drakes, I have the Improbable Catapult, so this just gives Healing Breath to all enemies as soon as the Drake's turn comes up. So I've been kind of smashed down the timeline, and in not having Surprise as a fused trait, I'm not able to get enemies blighted immediately. Maybe I need to, but not blighted, but Healing Breath, so that at the start of their turns they can start doing 150% to one of their allies, and in doing so, triggering blighted and getting quite an amount of damage dealt that way, usually lethal. So that's traits for the Drake, and then with Thana I have negative noise, so at 100% health, 90% chance to avoid damage, and wasted age from red storms, at 90% health or above, immune to damage from spells. So at 100% health, yeah, it can take double the beating that it does get being targeted twice as much. So that's really sweet. And then trait 3 is, or artifact trait is secret recipe. So after resurrected, Thana will resurrect other creatures as well. And here is where Regalis winds up giving a grand total of 3 traits out through Brothel, because Thana gives negative noise to Regalis and Sapphire Drake, and then Sapphire Drake does give healing breath to Thana, so 2 times out of 3 turns that will be heals of your party for 150% health. So very nice in that regard. And then trait 2 is again wasted age, so Regalis is also immune to spell damage at 90% health or more, which happens a lot with so much healing. And then for resurrection purposes, Pandemonium Rebirth. So after Regalis dies, both other creatures get resurrected or healed, depending on the situation. So resurrection is 100% health, which is really, really helpful, getting the creature right up to negative noise and not taking further damage, because once these creatures do resurrect, it's a huge double size target on their backs instead of the usual gigantic target that you get anyway in a 6 creature battle. So very handy to get that damage protection set right up once Thana or the Drake do resurrect. And that is it. And again, you do get the benefit of healing a creature that's not dead on your side, and be able to use negative noise very quickly after. So interesting to see this effect does not activate if more than one of your creatures has this trait. So it's good that it wasn't shared by Regalis's trait, Brothel, and it's only an artifact trait anyway. So moving right on to artifacts, there's a huge emphasis on defense, followed by speed and health. And so you can see I got Corpse Explosion, hopefully happening every couple of turns automatically as Boots does it. A lot of additional stats here, and Arcane doesn't really matter at 9% immune, really doesn't. Nice to have though. I like the speed boost, and then have the same thing here. Archangel's Blessing heals 30% health, plus gives a buff, so often it's enough to get a creature right back up to that 100% that is needed for negative noise. So additional stat boosts here: health, defense, a good chance of defensive on damage, nice intelligence boost, great nature strength boost, and 2 spell gem slots, which you'll see come in very, very handy, especially with just 3 slots per creature and only 3 creatures. So you have to have pretty much spells that cover any contingency, or most of them, which is very difficult on a 3 creature team. So next we got the helmet here with a focus on health this time. It doesn't help get the artifact spell cast because it requires provoking, but Demon's Judgment steals a lot of stats, much like Regalis's seduction spell, and so that helps create a pretty big swing in enemy versus ally stats. Very good to have. And then some nice overall boosts. Taunting doesn't really matter that much. Consecration and Holy Smite, just kind of minor effects. So I think Consecration is just healing, and Holy Smite is like a small amount of damage. And that's not boosted by anything like Zonte's characteristics. So moving on to relics, we got Petra and Ace for extra speed. Good speed increase to help get ahead of the enemy. Damage of bearers' attacks gets increased. And then there's a chance to start at top of timeline, which is very important, trying to get the improbable catapult to work on the Drake's first turn and get that trait shared, healing breath. So, and that is it for the current rank. And then we got 5740 NG, very defensive defense gain for the bearer. More defense and max health gained. And gaining max health is actually pretty treacherous and tricky, because when you do gain it, you're going to have a gap under 100% of max health for a short bit, and you've got to get that healing up you've got to get those hit points up to 100% through something like Archangel's Blessing or Mending or Leeching. So it's not too tough to fill up, but again, there are some crucial times where you might find Thana dead just like that because of missing its main defensive ability. So something to watch out for, especially with rank 50. After the relic attacks, then the bearer gains 10% max health. I mean, that's kind of necessary as battle drags on, but if you're trying to get as much damage as you can quickly, I don't know, maybe it might be good to get a more offensive artifact that doesn't create this gap. So I've been able to win some pretty good fights, but wonder if I've lost a couple as a result of having these brief gains in maximum health and the resulting lowering of health to under 100%. So rank 60, chance to cast Stone Skin, and that's every enemy turn, so that's pretty nice in an even match or a mirror match of sorts, 6-on-6. And then Regalis's artifact is Salus, so Mending that's already given, but does cause 25% less damage to be taken from attacks, allows defending at end of turn, actually causes it at end of turn. 60%, well, 10% times 6, chance to cast Soothing Breeze, and then max health increases. So again, not too often, so, and I think I might have to actually use some Blood Mage stuff to keep stat gains after these creatures do die, so that might have to get adjusted a little bit, but here's 25% less damage from spells, and then additional damage is dealt equal to 20% of healing that's received in current battle. So this is where Healing Breath winds up getting you additional damage of 20% of 150, so that would be 30%, I believe. So that adds up really nicely when Regalis gets targeted with a Healing Breath. So, and again, 2 out of 3 creatures on your side do have that, so it's a nice, slow, gradual build. If the buffs that you got or the other parts of the build aren't doing enough damage, this can let some plain old attacks or spells cause some damage in addition. So going to spell gems, I've got a lot of these to trigger on defense. So Archangel's Blessing is 30% health recovered plus a random buff. Life Orb is massive healing or resurrection with a decent amount of health. Chaos Rift, essentially a tiebreaker. And then for Thana, there's arbitration. Essentially swing the tide of battle without focusing too much on getting rid of debuffs. That is the one weak spot in this build. There's no real way to get rid of a ton of debuffs, but with so much of an aggressive tone to it, it really cuts down the amount of debuffs that are given out. So, and then the 2 spells at the bottom help get rid of the troublemakers that do that debuffing. But for the moment, Wormhole does the same. If anything is really, really distracting or just a really bad randomly generated creature with some really bad traits fused together and bringing your team down, this is your way to selectively damage it, bring it up in order of priority on the timeline. Yeah, sometimes it does get you one last set of bad actions, whatever they happen to be, spell casting, attacks, indirect damage, whatever, from the enemy, but you do in return get to deal about 150% of max health as blighted damage. So I know it is less not being in the Shadowbringer specialization and just being and with those Shadowbringer anointments being something just for Pariah. So there's no real boost of the amount of blighted damage. So there may be some non-kills in this that cause additional turns to need to be taken to deal that last sliver of damage, but to also speed up the pace of each battle, which is urgent and very, very, very demanding that you get the battle completed quickly because of the number of creatures you've got. Holy Blast and Warp Reality are crucial and very fun and effective. You can cast Holy Blast on your own creatures too, because they allow a barrier of 200% of max health to be put on to buy you time. It does bring your creature's health down to 25%, but there's plenty of options to get your creature's health up to 100% and still have a little bit of barrier to hide behind. And then once Holy Blast is cast, especially on an enemy, I mean, there are some really odd, weird reasons that you would on your own creatures. Warp Reality will take that massive new barrier off and then deal 400% of max health damage to enemies anyway. I mean, it may be a little bit less than 400% of max health due to the barrier being worn down, but a brand new barrier generated through Holy Blast allows some serious damage to be done to enemies. Very hard to avoid. And that's quite often enough to destroy a false god's body part, arm, shoulder, head, fist, whatever. And that's pretty awesome because it really does scale according to health. So that's much like the Healing Breath, Improbable, Catapult, and Shadow Sickness combo. So these are big chunks of damage that get thrown at enemies, and the indirect damage does let your creatures defend anyway, instead of getting knocked out by attacking and dealing very little damage. So things do get a little bit better with speed gains from Petra and Ace for the Sapphire Drake, and the other two creatures do have some pretty good damage dealing boosts, mainly in stats. And with Thana having an intelligence boost, I think the damage for Warp Reality may get a little bit higher, but I'm not sure. It's still plenty, and it's really awesome seeing like a false god section just get 75% of its health get destroyed, and then with the Warp Reality within usually on the same turn via a supporting creature on your side, you'll see that more than 100% health is lost by the enemy losing the barrier. And so for the final spells we got, Tsunami. This is an MVP for practically any build, but you have to enchant it to cast twice and increase the stat loss. So, and I have that generous too. So, if you're starting out with really spiteful, hateful, lethal damage, really what other kind is there in this game? I know there is some that's tricky, but just as a habit, try to cast Tsunami at least once, because a lot of these teams are going to just start raining misery down on your team very quickly. You're barely going to have a chance to figure out what to respond with, but just get Tsunami set up again with increased stat loss and generous and 100% chance to cast twice, and it won't really matter about the standard amount of damage that is dealt. Again, it's that, excuse me. It is the stat loss that you want to focus on, speed loss. And that works nicely with Regalis' Seduction spell, which also drains random stat off enemies and gives it to your team. And Demon's Judgment, which is on the artifact, and I do believe needs a provoke still, so I gotta probably get some macros here just to remind myself, because things are all over the map and kind of diversified instead of just being very straightforward. So so with that, we got spell 2, Covenant, and so just gives rebirth to your allies one at a time, except it is cast on an extra target. So that's about it. The fact is that it has to be changed over from life. So and there is desperate, there's something like, I think it may be a life spell still, where the creature dies and gives Covenant, and so you really don't want to lose a third of your party just to give rebirth. So that's pretty much the use of Covenant. It's shared, so you want to just go ahead and spam as best as you can off your ethereal charges, but 20 charges is nothing to sneeze at. Fighting through a realm, you'll certainly have enough charges to get through an entire floor, unless you start summoning stuff with the divination candle. And then chaos spheres, I'm debating possibly something that will cast Scorned, because creatures do have the Red Storm trait, and so that again prevents all spell damage at 90% or more health. So I need to figure out a way, possibly, to get some protection against attacks, which even at 100% process normally, 100% of ally health with negative noise, you still might get blindsided one time out of 10. So good to try and diversify your damage prevention. So I might find something that works a little bit better meta-wise and change it even beyond chaos spheres. I do have to say that it is nice with Singleton to reduce the number of attacks and spells. And again, if you do get attacked at 100% with negative noise, you still got a 9 out of 10 times damage prevention result. I was thinking about using I was thinking about using Pontiff of Luck to reroll any effects that don't happen, but I realized that that might happen as well with enemies getting their stuff rerolled. The wording looks kind of ambiguous and kind of fickle. So that is that for spell gems, and then that really is it for item sets. Don't have any macros, don't have any strategies, really, besides defending. So I'll just go ahead and make everybody defend their hearts out. And so I'll throw a bonus run here at 10:20. I just hate getting bogged down by extra commitments of having to fully level up to fully level up at max level, because that's going to be your one chance to fight a creature master, get a whole bunch of additional treasure. This will be just kind of extra frosting on the cake. So right now we're defending, and already looks like Thana is a casualty, but I'm going to just use Tsunami, slow stuff down, give us a little bit of breathing room while healing breath processes. So and it's only 5 charges. I'll use Seduction. Oh, so it's 25% of not a random trait, but actually random stat, but all of attack, intelligence, defense, and speed in corresponding positions. So I guess only position 2 got that. So wow, that was some pretty nasty damage. I'm gonna just check the history on that. So that's pretty good, about 300,000 for an attack. So, and it looks like Blight, being the MVP, dealing lethal damage here. So, yep. So. So here it looks like I've got 3 clocks to use, and as you can see, it doesn't look good for Thana, but all of a sudden it just came back around. So again, there's that health gain that does show up in this, and there's the barrier that gets attached as well. So it's kind of scary, but it is kind of fun, because you can be going way up health-wise or stat-wise in this, as long as you can just have mending or Archangel's Blessing or any of the other healing, get you back up there. So there is Thana now. Oops. So yeah, all you have to really do is just kind of keep spamming Holy Blasts and Archangel's Blessing. So I think I got enough there. I'm going to just inspect. I think, yeah. So currently 4.5 million health, but a barrier of 15 million almost. So so we're doing pretty well hanging on. The other 2 aren't holding on that well. Nothing a Holy Blast wouldn't be able to do. But and here I'm just grabbing all the buffs that I can off the clocks, and I'm just trying to get 2 said clocks here. So we'll just take all those awesome buffs off. Seduction will help swing things in our favor, stat-wise. So we'll just start taking their speed down with Tsunami, get Thana's health back up with Archangel's Blessing. I'm going to spam it a little bit more to get some extra buffs here. So I haven't been using Holy Blast as much on my team as you might think. I'm starting to do that now, so I can at least get a crazy barrier while I cast Tsunami, and Blighted knocks things out pretty quickly here. So Chaos Rifts never help, even if it does get to the point where you get too many and you can't start attacking or what have you. Yeah, just get them. I mean, don't worry about it, because you're going to have a source of damage coming in from Sapphire Drake all the time, and that is really the biggest source here. So not to worry, just kind of bide your time here with Seduction, and let's see, just gonna put a Holy Blast on the weakest link here. So you can see that barrier's holding off a lot of stuff while your creatures do heal right back up. I'll throw, actually everybody has rebirth, so I'll just throw some more traits on, start doing some attacks, see if, see if that helps, and it's not. Everything still has rebirth, and what I'm going to do is get to the most likely spellcaster here. So that shut Mr. Freet right back up. Steal some buffs. So the point is to really have your stolen buffs equal or exceed what few debuffs that you have. And again, if you're using Chaos Spheres to shut down spellcasting, you know, you can kind of tough it out over a couple of turns and not worry about that too much. I'm going to just use Wormhole here to keep on throwing some extra mass damage on, or extra heavy damage right there. So there we go. And with a smaller team size, it's almost possible to elude things a little bit better. So here you're going to see where Holy Blast is critical, because Sparktails are really bad news. So again, let me see if I can get Holy Blast on there. Alright, yeah, it looks like things are being stolen here, so what I'm going to do is use Seduction first. get some speed out of everything, so it won't be able to keep throwing garbage at me. And I will use Warp Reality, which I hope targets additional creatures. Seems like that spider was stealing all the stuff I was casting, so looks like a good time for a life orb here. Ugh. Not gonna help. Maybe looks like time also for a holy blast. There we go. Getting back up there, and now Thana's back to highly damage resistant. The fight was almost over anyway. And oh, I keep doing that. Oh, this might not be good, but let's see. The biggest worry with all these random stat boosts from guys like this are it is speed, actually, so that's why I'm using Tsunami. I'll use Seduction here with Regalis. Keep on using that. So I'll show the effect that it has, and hopefully I can get out of dodge here very shortly. Whoops. Yeah, so speed is what? Oh. Yeah, it's high, so could have been a lot higher, I guess. No other buffs to steal. So do Affliction, start slowing stuff down. So there we go. I got cursed. If they want to have the temerity to attack me, there we go. All right. And yep. Oh. Oh my goodness! I think I just got my prophecies card all set, so now I just have to take a peek and see where the soda fountain is, and it's way down. I'm just gonna get the heck out of here. Ugh. And I know I could be grabbing that little extra pile of treasure, but this team should not be fighting outside of Gate of the Gods. So there we are, successful run. Successful, pardon me, and 3 projects complete, and I got my prophecies too, so very nice finish here, progress-wise. More defense scrolls. Warming up good old Tartarus, and then Keyforge. All right. So yeah, been waiting to have all that happen, so. Oh, look at that, yeah. All right, let's see. So I had 5740 NG, just tantalizing with the rank 70 ability here, and that's been just staring at me since rank 64 mainly. So 2, 3, there we go. So that'll be a big help in our team right now. I'd like to get Petra and Ace up a little bit more. I'll do that once. Let's see what else. And then Salus is pretty high as is. So instead, with it being cheaper, I'll put that on Petronace instead. And I do really want to get my reliquary squared too. So I'll get some additional attack damage. I want to get stats up big time. And I don't really have any kind of stat reduction. Just kind of a good question here as to what to do with this 6120. It's going to get used up regardless, and yeah, I'll work on a stat increase and save right here. So this has been a really, really awesome run. I'll go ahead and do some more training and get some speed increased as well once I finally fix that. I'll get Keyforge going, and then I think I'll hold off on that project. Anyway, thank you if you are still here. Just wanted to appreciate you very much for watching this entire tutorial. Things went off without a hitch. I have tried to sum this up fairly quickly and succinctly, and I think this time I did well and got some bonus fighting footage. So if you'd like to share, subscribe, what have you, keep watching. I very much appreciate it, and I'll work on another video soon.